Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 74 today for the British Grand Prix in Season 4. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. That was a very mixed bag of results. It was actually a fantastic race, really entertaining episode, but obviously the result was less to be desired basically by the end of it then, and we have to make up for it at the home Grand Prix then at Silverstone. We come into this race weekend now with a difference to last episode, with some upgrades actually, reliability, and also for the first time in a long while, an actual performance upgrade there. You can see the major brakes update. That means we only have one upgrade left on the car before we're actually maxed out. So we're getting through to the ceiling and the roof, but to be honest, the last few upgrades have just been brake upgrades. So really, we kind of already hit the roof in theory, really, with the car in most areas here. But you can see on the R&D shot, we close up a little bit. That means in theory on paper to Racing Point, and actually Red Bull, I didn't realize this, Red Bull Racing since last episode have actually been the best car on the grid. So it's no surprise then that both Gasly and Butler were looking pretty damn quick around the Austrian Grand Prix last episode, and they probably should be looking good again here at the British GP, but I didn't actually realise that last episode, but there you go. Obviously the scaling's so small on the graph that all those teams were in the kind of top flight are all pretty much covered by, you would say, maybe 2-3 tenths depending on the circuit really. So as ever, it's going to be very close. You can see there before the forecast for the weather is going to be torrential rain at the start of qualifying to be all dry for the race, but that might make our Saturday quite tricky. I can't lie, I'm a little bit nervous that we might get knocked out here and there, because you just never know with the AI around on F1 2019. They can sometimes pull out, you know, some wonderful crazy lap times in the wet when you just can't. So we'll have to try and navigate that as best we can. Let's go to qualifying then and see how we do, and hopefully we can survive all the way to Q3.
Here we are then, waiting for the green light to get qualifying underway for the British Grand Prix.
So, could be a tasty one today then, Ants. We've got all the ingredients, that's for sure. Treacherous conditions, an ever-changing racetrack, and one or two cars just behind the pace setters who maybe, just maybe, fancy a bit of an upset after a good performance from them in free practice.
And the question has to be, of course, what is that circuit going to look like in 10 to 15 minutes from now? If you think the rain's going to get worse, then you have to be straight out when the lights go green to find whatever grip you can. But if it eases off, then you're better off waiting, saving the tyres, and going out at the perfect moment. The other thing that comes with these conditions? Traffic, and the lack of visibility that comes from sitting in the spray. It's going to be a constant problem, and I expect to see a lot of frustrated drivers with ruined laps out there today.
So we're going to kick things off in Q1 then on the full wet tyres. You can see it is rather damp, just a bit here at Silverstone here as we go for our first flying lap of the session. Then you can see into turn 1, very light rear end. You can see this the car already skating around and basically just like on tiptoes, like on an ice rink basically, when there's this level of water on the track. And we go across the line for P9. I thought it was an okay lap time, but it's in the end not going to be probably enough for us to get through into Q2. You can see we're down to P13 now. And so by the time we go to our second flyer, you can see that it's actually got worse. This is now the torrential rain that's come in that was on the forecast. So instead of the 3 droplets icon, it's the actual 3 streaks of rain, which means there's actually technically standing water on the circuit. And you can see visually, like you can actually see the amount of mass of rain falling down out the sky, and I just can't keep the car on the track there. It's going to be nigh impossible to improve your lap time in that kind of condition. So we go for a third flyer at the very end of Q3, and this has to be faster than what we've done, because right now I'm down in P19 and we'll be out of Q1 at the first time of asking there. You can see we gained about 6 tenths to up to a second then at the end of the lap as we skate through the last corner, trying to avoid the bump as we go through the right-hander and across the line. Thankfully, it will be a big enough improvement to see us through into the second part of qualifying there. P11 for us, Hamilton P9, and then also thankfully it's going to start getting drier and drier as we go on through this day. As you can see, we're now on the green wall intermediate tyres for Q2, and maybe potentially we might go to the slick tyres by the time we get to Q3. So some very British bipolar weather really going on here on Saturday, as you can clearly see. So we move through then, chasing after George Russell. He wasn't this close to us at the start of the flying lap, so probably that means that we've done a pretty decent lap compared to the Ferrari at least. As we go across the line, it will be P7 for us, then Hamilton P3. We're through into the top 10 shootout. Both Red Bulls, though, looking insanely quick in the intermediate conditions. Maybe maybe, I don't know, hopefully they don't look that dominant in the dry conditions. But surprisingly for us, the big thing is both Racing Point cars were out of Q3, and I don't think they actually made it past Q1, actually, is they're not even in the top 14 there, so I would suggest they're way down the order, so they're going to have a massive comeback race. You know, the team that's right up there, obviously Hulkenberg's the man leading the championship, so that's good news for the likes of myself and Hamilton, and also the Renaults, who are struggling a little bit as Weber's being knocked out, and Verstappen makes it in. So, so far, the reason why I can tell, kind of, we pointed this out at the end of last episode, it was so close in the Drivers' Championship, there's a good reason. It seems like everyone's tripping up over themselves every single race, including myself and Hamilton as well. So it's all kind of keeping us all bunched up, as it were. But we're now going to look ahead to the top 10 shootout here. Very overcast conditions, but it's dry enough for the slick tyres. So for the first time this race weekend, we'll be on the Red Bull set of soft tyres here, navigating the last few corners. Hasn't been an absolutely tidy lap. I did make a few mistakes here and there in sectors 1 and 2. So we go across the line for P4 there, and we'll have to go again for a second fly at the end of Q3. You can see the timer up top. We've only got 2 and a bit minutes. The checker flag's fallen, basically, so this will be our last lap to do this. At the moment, Sergio Perez is on provisional pole. We're gained about nearly 2.5, 3 tenths nearly through back to Beckett's there, as we're in P7 at the moment with that first lap time there. So this needs to be a decent improvement to try and match our teammate at least, and I believe he's around the second row of the grid, perhaps in P3 or P4. I think Gasly's right up there, quite close to Sergio Perez, so it's going to be fine margins, I think, as we continue to gain some time into Stowe, into the last corners then. A little bit easier on the braking there. I think I was kind of scared of locking up there, but we do kind of keep the time there, about 4.5 tenths across the line, and it's going to be P3 in the end. So we do join our team at Hamilton on the second row of the grid. So I think we've done a pretty decent job there to be right there with him. And you can see, lap time wise, it's so close between myself, Gasly, Perez, and back to Hamilton as well. So, you know, maybe one little corner here and there going a little bit faster. I could have had pole position at the home Grand Prix. So alas, going to have to settle down for P3. But from here, I think hopefully we should have a decent race. Not too sure about the race pace though, because the last 2-3 episodes, our car has systematically felt slower in the race, I feel, than it has in qualifying, especially when we move on to harder compounded tyres. I think that's a kind of characteristic our car kind of has now developed as we go on through the season, unfortunately. So we'll watch out for it, but at least there's no rain. That would have been definitely quite an annoying thing to see if it was going to be raining as well in the race. So we can do something from here, from P3, and try and gun for at least minimum, you'd say, a podium. But let's try and see if we can go for a win if it's going to be that close in qualifying. So let's go to the grid then and see how we do on Sunday.
The pain of parting is nothing to the joy of meeting again. And how joyous indeed it is to be back at Silverstone once more for the British Grand Prix. The queues to get in this morning extended miles back down the A43, such is the enthusiasm for Formula One in this country. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. It's Sergio Perez on pole position today, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have the engineer, Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Butler, Leclerc, Grosjean, Vettel, and Lucas Faber, Fiat, Norris, George Russell, and Giovinazzi. Stroll, Ricciardo, Kevin Magnussen, and Nico Hulkenberg, Bottas, and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Alright, so here we are then in P3 on the grid. No penalties to talk about, so everyone will remain where they qualified, and that means that Nico Hulkenberg is indeed in P18, the championship leader down in P18, so that means we have a very good chance today to make an inroad on the championship lead potentially, but we've got a lot of fast cars around us. Obviously, the 2 Red Bulls were flying last episode at Austria. Hamilton's right there next to us, and Sergio Perez is on pole ahead of us. It's going to be a one-stop today from the soft to the medium tyres. Overcast, it looks like, the entire time, so a bit of a gloomy, dull episode maybe ahead of us, but hopefully it won't be a dull one in terms of our race. today as we go now towards 5 red lights for the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone from P3 on the grid alongside our teammate. 5 lights are out and we're underway. It's a good getaway for us, but an equally good one for Gasly and Hamilton on the inside. We take to the outside line for turn 1, but a contact made there as I think a front wing hits our rear right tyre. I think it might have been the other Red Bull, Devin Butler, and Hamilton on the right. We take it to the escape road and the safety car is out. The full course safety car is out. That is a big rarity indeed. Obviously, we saw this rare specimen come out in career mode only last season at the Mexican Grand Prix for the first time in about 60 odd episodes, and now it's come out again for a second running in this career mode. And this is why then into turn 1, hard to see from this angle until there we go. So the second Red Bull, it was Butler. Then I saw that correctly. I thought I saw the Red Bull front wing on the bottom right of our screen when we got attacked there, and so it seems like Hamilton got a good getaway like I did. He got side by side with me into turn 1 though. He gets pinched into the barrier then, I think it seems by Butler, who also had an electric start. I mean, wow, Butler has an absolutely insane start there. Nearly gets 3 cars into turn 1, then gets pinched by both myself and Hamilton. But that was really, I don't feel like that was a fault for me. I was kind of giving him the space by going to the outside, but it's just the nature of the corner pinched him in, and Verstappen had a very good look at that. So essentially Butler just tried to maybe pinch Hamilton a bit too far to the right hand side. Hamilton's come off with some damage, I think, and Butler's spun around, and that caused a safety car, which is very odd, really, because there's been some other incidents so far this season that have warranted a safety car, and they haven't brought the safety car out. So I don't know what on earth is going on this race in particular. The FI feel very, I don't know, cautious this episode, I guess, and so the safety car's out. And like I said, the last time we got it was at the Mexican Grand Prix in Season 3, and that was like the first time we got it in about since the entirety of the entire career mode. I've had virtual safety cars and stuff like that, but I think it's been a very rare case, obviously, as you guys know, and a bit of a joke really, that the safety car is non-existent in this game pretty much. So there we go then. So a bit of an electric start and then a bit of a subdued getaway then for the rest of this first stint as we are under obviously the slow conditions of the safety car, but we're now getting underway towards green flags, waiting for when Perez is going to bolt for the green on lap number 3 onto lap number 4. He's gone a little bit early there than I wanted to, and I thought he would do, so I got caught out a little bit there. Double lock up trying to slow down the car, but equally still keeping up with Gasly somewhat there. The tyres were up to temperature, so losing a little bit of grip through the last corner, but not too bad there. Trying to warm up the tyres a little bit as we wiggle through into turn 1, but it's still P4 Hamilton, but for how much longer? Because I'm pretty sure he got damage off that crash, because it was a hefty thump on that metal Armco barrier on the right hand side into turn 1. So I think he's already fallen. Yeah, he's already fallen behind as we go through Mountain Beckett's. He's now down to P5 at least minimum. I think he's even overtaken by another car. You can see on the minimap there as Verstappen is now up into P4. But look at this fight now. Gasly goes for a move on Sergio Perez here. I'm desperately trying to do something with my engine. It's overheating and I just can't do much in terms of attacking Perez or Gasly. I thought I could try and maybe catch one of them napping as Gasly went for the move, but I just got boxed in and also had to worry about my engine overheating quite a fair bit behind the dirty air of not 1 but 2 cars there. So for now I have to stay patient and stay put here and just try and stick behind and try and keep my engine as cool as possible. As we now move on to lap number 5, and we're a bit too far away to really do anything on those 2 leaders, and Gasly looks like he'll have a second bite to try and go on Perez, this time on the outside, and that might just be the way he does it, because that'll be the inside for the next corner, of course, the left hand of the chicane, and he actually pushes Perez off on the exit and gets it done even before this brake zone for the chicane. So Gasly up into first place in the Red Bull, then Perez down to P2, and we've closed up to them as they went side by side. So now as we wind up, I really need to start thinking about trying to make a move here, because otherwise they will try and slowly pull away from me. I can already kind of get that vibe that they have a little bit more pace than I do, so we need to try and get the move done, or get a move done really, if it's both or one of them done, whilst we're in this DRS range and before Verstappen closes up, because he's been doing nothing but dropping Hamilton and the rest of the pack and closing up to us 3, so it could be a 4-way scrap soon enough. But here we go now, gaining the speed, a monumental amount of speed there, surprisingly. Into Stowe we go, and we've gone a little bit too deep there, and Gasly has undercut the line and got back up into the lead of the Grand Prix, but we have got at least 1 overtake done there on Sergio Perez in the McLaren there. We came with so much speed, I feel like I almost didn't realise how much speed I had to slow myself down from, actually. And the safety car has come out again for the second time in this race. Daniel Ricciardo at the Grand Prix, and so we've been starved of the safety car for so many episodes in this career mode since the very beginning, and now in 1 episode we've had 2. I don't know what the FI think, like, dear the FI, your quota of safety cars doesn't improve if you just put 2 in one episode. I still want to see them over the course of the career, not just all in one go. I mean, God forbid we're going to see a third one later on this episode. And this is the easiest safety car to pull out. It's literally just Ricciardo retiring on the right hand side there. That's it. We're replaying the clip, and you can see that is his retirement. He's just pulling to the right, and that is him out of the GP. That's why they pulled the safety car. Very, very odd. And meanwhile, whilst that was happening, just to kind of show you and emphasize how badly Hamilton is finding this race so far with that damage, he's already been overtaken by George Russell, the Williams of Vettel, and then gets dive bombed by Lando Norris there to the inside of Stowe, and also gets attacked by the Alfa Romeo. So he's going down about 5 positions there. So very bad afternoon for Hamilton, really, with that damage. That wasn't even his fault, really, so I feel quite bad for him then. But we move then back to our POV. Lap number 8, you can see we're nearly side by side with Gasly, as I was kind of awkwardly trying to maybe tease him a little bit and try and wait for the jump for the green flag to try and maybe be a little bit cheeky and go side by side with him through the last few corners, where, of course, we can't overtake him until the safety car line, but it doesn't matter. Gasly gets the good exit and it remains in P1. We're remaining in P2. Verstappen is in P3 because Sergio Perez has actually picked under the safety car. Now, at the moment, I have no idea where he actually is in the pecking order then, and if that was the correct move for him. Of course, you get effectively a free pit stop under the safety car, but because we're so early on in the Grand Prix still on lap 7, I didn't feel like it was necessary. Neither did Gasly or Verstappen here. We're going to go to at least lap 13 minimum. I would say probably lap 14, 15, really, if because, you know, we've had so many laps under safety car, so the tyre wear really isn't that high on the soft tyres. So Perez has gone for the gamble, rolled the dice, and he's gone to a set of, I assume, mediums, and to the end of the GP, but right now he's in traffic, so that's the kind of caveat to that kind of strategy, so we'll see about that. But here we go then on lap 11. We're so far back from Gasly, but look at the closing speed here. It is ridiculous with these maxed out cars how much speed you gain with DRS and the engine at full pelt with ERS going as well. And we overtake Pierre Gasly because he's going to go around the outside though to try and get the place back. We lock up on the front left, we narrowly squeeze him out there into the right hander, and we're going to maintain P1 just about. Gasly gave us a real good fight into the last few turns there, just like with Verstappen v Leclerc at the real life British Grand Prix in 2019, but we get the move done. And I just want to emphasize again that closing speed was crazy. Like, as I was saying before, we were interrupted by Gasly's move there to try and re-overtake me. Yeah, absolutely insane how much speed we gained there. But now we move on to lap number 12, and Gasly and Verstappen both come in, interesting, a lot earlier than I would have thought. Like I said, I think lap 13, maybe 14, we're going to come in, so we're going to keep on going, because even though the pace is red lap times on the top right, I feel like I'll still be going faster than I would be on a set of mediums. So we go to the end of lap 14 on towards 15. That's when we're going to come in for our pit stop then onto a set of yellow wall medium tyres. But like I said, I think, honestly, as the pattern has been over the last 2-3 episodes, our car specifically as well, I think has been performing worse on the harder compounded tyres. That's why I wanted to stretch the soft tyre stint. And at the moment, you might have seen there, as we did come in, Sergio Perez was already in P2. So in hindsight, when you can say a lot of things in hindsight, really, we should have maybe took the gamble with Perez, and it looks like it's not even a gamble, really. It's a slam dunk for him to being in the lead of this Grand Prix, and with a hefty gap here as we're down the pit lanes, one of the slowest pit lanes on the game, and in real life as well, but I think in the game specifically, it's very, very slow indeed, and so we've lost a lot of time here. Everyone's lost a lot of time, and Perez obviously gained that free pit stop, so we're through out into what is going to be, I think, P3, yeah, P3, behind Pierre Gasly, but look at the mini-map on the bottom left there, the gap that Perez has. So, yeah, I'm going to put my hands up. We should have pit under the safety car like Perez did on that second safety car. It really should have been a case of there's a second safety car in the matter of 2 laps. It's a no-brainer to pit, but at the same time, I feel like I was so focused on getting this fight done with Gasly and kind of keeping up with the leaders, like quote-unquote leaders, basically, and being that P1 fight, that I kind of got blindsided by the fact that, you know what, the pit lane's one of the slowest pit lanes in the world on this game. We probably should get the free pit stop, and even if we're down to P12 under the safety car, we'll gain that all back in no time, basically, and that's what Sergio Perez has done. So we now move on to lap number 17 then, and as it stands, Pierre Gasly is pulling away from us, and Verstappen is gaining, and really, again, this car does not feel too great on the medium tyres. I'm hoping this next lap we can kind of find the groove a little bit, and we do go on to find it, because you can see on the top right there, 2 green sector times, so we are going faster, but Verstappen's going even faster, so we move through into the last few corners. We're gaining on Gasly a little bit, and you're about to see the rather annoying situation as we go towards the line. Essentially, we're going to set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, and immediately that's going to be outdone by Verstappen as the purple time basically went from Gasly down to my name, down to Verstappen's name in a split second there. So lap 18, and Verstappen is the one looking likely to make an overtake here for P3 rather than me going to chase after Gasly, and Perez has basically checked out of this Grand Prix in first place. So like I said, minimum I was hoping we could fight for a podium. It seems like that will be the maximum we can hope for here, a podium today. I don't think we'll be getting P2 or P1, and we just have to try and keep Verstappen at bay. Of course, we know the Renault has been pretty quick all season long. Verstappen particularly hasn't been. It's been Weber really, but it's good to see him kind of fully finally kind of step up, I guess, in the yellow car. But as we move on to lap 22, for us though, for our sake, it's not too great because he's right behind us with the DRS here as we move down towards left field. Where is he going to go? Where are we going to go with overtake mode? He's got DRS open though, so he's going to send one down the inside and make some contact with us as well as Verstappen gets the elbows out, almost squeezes us off circuit as well. So Verstappen getting very, very aggressive there. We go equally aggressive on the exit of left field to try and squeeze him out completely there and maintain the position. He's going to pull on the left-hand side. We go very defensive to the right there. So as we go in towards Copse, he really can't make a move there, and so he backs out of that. And so we live to fight another day, basically on lap 22 there. But it was very, very close to being done, I think, because the moment he tapped me and our car started to spew off a little bit right there, I was kind of worried we couldn't keep the momentum through into the apex and the right hander of Luffield. So we now move on to lap 24 then, and Verstappen comes knocking once again on the left-hand side here, and he has a little look on the outside of Stowe. We are going to once again be able to defend from him successfully, but for how long? Will he have another chance around the outside of the chicane? We go defensive again to the inside, lock up at the front left, but that actually helps us slow Verstappen down a little bit and try and park the bus there through the last two corners onto the second last lap of the Grand Prix. And we go again for a third time now to the inside for the next corner, and Verstappen again cannot make a move. So we are really putting up a massive wall here to try and block off this move, and we're going to actually successfully pull it off there as we move through to the last lap of the Grand Prix. Sergio Perez has won the British Grand Prix with a very simple strategy of pitting under the safety car, so fair play. It's one that all of us should have done, but he's gone on to win the British Grand Prix. Gasly in second place, and we come home in a pretty okay, I would say, third place.
Can't complain about that one. That was an excellent drive.
A beautiful performance from McLaren today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
So yeah, like the engineer said, we can't really complain too much about that one. Obviously, the championship leader, Hulkenberg, had a very tough race, scored no points, and so we gain on Hulkenberg, and we actually overtake him in the championship, but Sergio Perez leapfrogs all of us up into P1 in the championship. So once again, the championship lead changes hands, and so this season's turning out to be a very exciting one, actually, for the standings there. McLaren, though, continue their consistency and remain in P1, the constructors. No one really changed apart from Alfa Romeo overtake Haas there at the bottom there. And of course, it was an unfortunate race for Hamilton. I mean, I feel like both me and Hamilton could have been there with a solid, well, P3, P4 minimum to finish where we qualified, but I think higher if we, obviously, like I said, in hindsight, pit under the safety car, but alas, like I said at the time, I was just so tunnel visioned on Gasly and Verstappen that we kind of lost sight of that would have been the more clever strategy to pull off, and so fair play to Sergio Perez for doing that. It's always good to see sometimes the AI pulling off better strategies than you sometimes. It can get a little bit too samey otherwise. Like I said, we still overtook Hulkenberg, and there was a massive gulf to him actually going to into this race, so that's at least one positive there, and we're still very much close in the point standings, and it's obviously only about halfway through this season, so there's still plenty of time to go. So guys, if you did enjoy that Grand Prix, then be sure to hit that like button. I mean, smash the like button for 2 safety cars in a race. I still can't believe that, how rare the safety cars are, and we've actually had 2 in a race. I cannot believe it. Hopefully this is the start of the safety cars starting to come back into the career mode. Probably not, but I hope so, by getting 2 in the span of 8 laps. Absolute madness for this game, really, which is also that statement itself is just stupid to say, but there we go. But let me know what you guys thought about the race in the comments below. If you are new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been over. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.